Dr. Marwa is here. You can start your presentation.
Hi, Sam. Could you please make Marwa PC as
Marwa? I don't.
Dr. Marwa has co-host and
yes,
there she is.
I hear you.
Dr. Marwa Souissi, yeah.
Yes. So
Also, in the chat, Dr. Nagla is saying that Dr. Heb is not here, but she is with her. So we can see this after the presentation of Dr. Marwa, if that's okay. She can, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Dr. Nagla can present instead of Dr. Marwa?
Yeah, after Dr.
Okay. Let's start with now proceed with Dr. Marwa now.
yes, hello. So do you hear me?
Perfect.
Yes. Okay. So hello, I'm Souissi Marwa, a PhD student from Tunisia. Before starting, I would first like to express my sincere thanks for your presence today and the remarks which will enrich this work, which I will have the pleasure to share and discuss with you. The work I will presenting today is entitled Eco-friendly dyeing of bicomponent filament, natural, with natural dye extracted from date powder. Phoenix dactyliferia. So this work is carried out in our laboratory, environmental chemistry and clean process laboratory in Tunisia, with supervised by my dear Professor Ramzi Khiari and Nizar al-Mexi. So I will start with in this work. So I will start with a general introduction. Then I will introduce the characterization of bicomponent filament object of this study. Then I will characterize the natural dye extracted from date palm pits. In the fourth part, I will speak about the obtained result of dyeing bicomponent filament with natural dye extracted from dyed pits. And finally, I will end with the conclusion. So the use of polyester filament and more in this is more and more used in these textile files because of their excellent appearance, their high temperature resistance, their high resistance to abrasion, and their very soft touch. But they present also many disadvantages, such their high crystallinity and low dye affinity, their fair comfort thermal, and their low elasticity and recovery elasticity. So in this, that's why that's why the performance of this filament must be improved. So in this context, recently considerable attention have been paid to innovative bicomponent filament market as T400 T400% by DuPont company. This bicomponent filament yarn is composed of 60% polyethylene terephthalate and 60% polyethylene terephthalate. And the two polymers making up the yarn are extruded from the same spinner, adjacent and arranged side by side. The sportswear made of bicomponent filaments are too close to the body, and the synthetic, and they are dying with the synthetic dyes present a great danger to human health and because of stresses of the residual dyes on the fabric by mixing with the sweat generate allergenic and carcinogenic products. So that's why in this study we propose to study the feasibility of dyeing bicomponent filament with a solution extracted from a very abundant raw material in Tunisia, date pits. So we will start from characterization of bicomponent filament. Second step, we characterize the extracted solution, and then we present the dyeing optimization result. So Let's start with the characterization of bicomponent filament. In this study, bicomponent filament yarn is composed of 60% polyethylene terephthalate and 40% polytrimethylene terephthalate. The two polymers making up the yarn are extruded from the same spinners, adjacent and arranged side by side. From scanning electron micrograph of a bicomponent filament, we can conclude that filaments have latent crimps, which explain their elasticity and high elastic recovery power. Each filament is composed of two banded filaments, PUT and PTT, arranged side by side. Image of the filament cross-section shows larger and small circular surfaces. The larger one corresponds to the PUT filament, and the smaller surface corresponds to PTT filaments. The thermal analysis show that the height glass transition temperature of PUT-PTT bicomponent filament is equal to 39.27 degree, and the obtained to melting temperature indicate that the dying PUT-PTT bicomponent filament can be only be performed at high temperature. At low temperature, the fibrous structures is not yet well open for dye penetration and sorption. So let's move to the characterization of bicomponent filament and test their recovery elasticity of knitted sample made of 100% of bicomponent filament. So obtained results show that this knit can withstand 50% of its elongation at a break after 5 cycles. It is a high performance knit that can be used in the manufacture of technical garments like sportswear, thanks to its elasticity and its great elastic recovery. Let's move to the thermal comfort of bicomponent filament. So in order to test the thermal comfort property, we use the moisture management tester. MMT instrument was used to test the liquid solution and the disruption of this solution in the knitting fabric sample. So the MMT moisture management is showed in the figure. And the measured parameters are wetting time, maximum wetting radius, the spreading speed, the accumulative one-way transport index, and the overall moisture management capability. Obtained results showed that the performance of bicomponent filament yarn present a good OMCs. So they present a good thermal comfort properties. Let's move now to the characterization of extracted solution of date palm pits. So date palm pits used in this study are collected from south of Tunisia. Their variety are date Decletonur, and they are crushed, washed, and dried, and they moved to the powder to be used in the extracted solution. So they present also mineral elements, so they contain potassium, phosphor, magnesium, calcium, sodium, and they contain a very high percent of polyphenol. So this chemical composition of date palm pits are encouraged as to use it such dye for polyester filament. So let's move to the protocol of extraction used in this study. So this is the protocol of extraction with assisted microwave used. This is the optimal condition of extracted process used, and these optimal extracted condition were adopted in the following steps. In this study, so the textile sample used during this study are jersey fabric knitted with 100% bicomponent filament marked as T400 perforated from Investa company. Jersey knitted fabric were made using circular knitting machine type Tricolab George 12. The physical characteristics of knitted fabric are in the table below. Although although date stones are very abundant and unexploited material, they still have very interesting properties, such as their antioxidant activity. In order to evaluate this activity, the free radicals scavening method, GPPH, were exploited, and the obtained results show that the aqueous extracts of the date palm pits present an excellent antioxidant activity. So the effect of storage condition of the absorbance of the extraction solution are also studied, and we can find that under normal condition, the absorbance of the solution for the 3 values of pH remains stable for 7 days of storage. However, store the extracted solution at 30 degrees and away from light always to keep it intact. The absorbance value remains constant for about 20 days for pH equal to 7 and 9. Let's move to the optimization of dyeing process. So for this, we use the thermal curve below, and the studied factor are pH and time of dyeing. This study is carried out with using the experimental design of full factorial design with 2-factor and 3-level, and the analyzed response in the color yield of dyed samples. So obtained results show that an acidic pH equal to 5 always allow to obtain the best dyeing performances because the polyester filament are generally dyeing at slightly acidic pH. A duration equal to 60 minutes allows to obtain the best value of color yield equal to 13 minutes. Beyond this value, equal to 20.3. Beyond this value, there is also a slight decrease in the value of color yield. So this is due to the possible degradation of the aqueous extractions. Contour plot for color yield also show that we tend to maximize the color response and area, and in which the value of the color is optimized are drawn in dark blue. So this is the dyeing sample in dyeing samples in optimal conditions, so show that we can find 20.45 color yield, and the coordinate CULab below. So the color fastness of samples are also tested, and we can see that the simple dyes present a good color fastness. So to conclude, this work allows us to characterize bicomponent filament yarn using SEM, DSC, and also other analyses. So prove their excellent recovery, elasticity, demonstrate that kinetic fabric made of bicomponent filament have a good thermal properties, thermal comfort properties, characterize the extracted solution of date palm pits, study the dyeing of this filament with extracted solution of date palm pits. As perspective, we will evaluate the other parameters of thermal comfort, water vapor permeability, thermal conductivity, and air permeability after dyeing with the extracted solution of date pits, and ameliorate dyeing fastness with using ecological products. So thanks for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Marwa, for this presentation. And if we have any question from the audience, do we have any question regarding this extraction dyeing from date palm pits? By the way, we use it now as a coffee. I don't know why you're doing it. Do you do it in Tunisia?
Yes.
As a coffee also?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So using these pits as a dyes, it's limited for just one color, right?
Yes.
I mean, you give you one color. If you need different colors, are you going to add some colorant or?
Yes. We found one color. So
just one color.
If we want to have another color, we should use another natural dye.
Yeah.
Maybe one question.
Yes. You're gonna ask yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea about the reaction mechanism between dyes and fiber?
Dyes and fiber.
And fiber.
No. Because the dye is not purified, so it's not easy to find the mechanism and the interaction between dyes and fibers.
That's why
we should purify and extract the color matter of dye, and why not detect and determine the interaction between filaments and dye.
Did you have an idea about how can you purify your dyes?
There is a lot of method of separation to have a purified solution. So I don't know exactly more information.
That meaning for my question, if you purify your product, do you think really that we obtain the same color, the same fatness and everything?
No, because we should have the same variety and the same of dye matters, you know. How we cannot have reproducibility of dyeing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any more question?
Do you have any question, or we can go now to